ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. We continue inshallah ta'ala matters of fiqh, of transactions, of mu'amalat, and inshallah ta'ala we'll talk about the bab or the chapter of sharika or partnership. And again, as it's mentioned every week, just to make sure that maybe somebody didn't hear it, or there's definitely benefit in the repetition. This is not meant for action, right? This is meant for to get to know the beauty of the Deen, that it's so comprehensive, that everything that we do in our life, we have to follow the guidelines of the Deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Deen of Islam is not just in masjid only or elsewhere, it's everywhere. It's all of our life, it's all of what we say, what we do in any state that we are in. So this is a great benefit if we can get to know this. Also to realize that since we're living in a life where we do contracts, we sometimes get into partnerships and so on, we should not be heedless. People do these types of transactions and then ask afterwards or so. No, they have to make sure that there's Deen here. So we have to make sure that our contracts is according to the Deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot say we have to go by the law of the land in contracts. Anything that is against the Deen of Allah, we cannot go by it. That's period. It doesn't matter where you are. The Deen of Islam is something that governs our life. So if the contract has something haram, then we don't deal with this. We stay away from it. And we have to follow what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to do. Anything that is not against the Deen of Islam, of course, we follow that. And as matters of ease in the Sharia, is that everything is permissible matters of transactions or dealings, buying and selling and so on. Everything is permissible unless proven otherwise. So the spaciousness is there, right? There's no tightness in it. It's not like, okay, people invent a new transaction, then we have to tell them what's your evidence that this is according to the Deen. No, it's the other side that's supposed to bring the evidence that this is haram. Everything is permissible unless proven otherwise. And the reason I'm mentioning always this introduction is if someone is, for example, in a partnership, you should not use what we say today and you apply it right away. No, you need to ask specifically for your specific situation. Something might be misunderstood. We won't discuss every single detail of it. This is just meant to be an introductory level, if it's correct to say that. Plus, these types of knowledge, it's first to be understood with the language, wherever it's explained. So please, if you have an issue, then you have to ask specifically for your specific situation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us, inshallah. After talking about al-wakala, or to act on someone's behalf, or they call it the proxy or so, then comes the talk of the sharika, and this is meant to be in this order, because when people, they want to be partners in matters of transactions or in a company or in any dealing of making profit and making money, this is a contract, the contract of partnership. Is it a contract of profit or mu'awada or amana or something to do with trust? So many of the ulama, they say this is based on trust. So that's why the same rules that applied when we talked about someone acting on your behalf, the same rules apply when people are partners, right? So they have to be trustworthy, they have to be fit to deal with money and so on, with the same rulings that was mentioned before. Because you don't want to be a partner with someone that is not trustworthy, for example. Nobody wants to do that whatsoever. So this is the order of the chapter here. He says, وقال صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول الله تعالى أنا ثالث الشريكين ما لم يخن أحدهما صاحبه فإذا خانه خرجت من بينهما. رواه أبو داود. This hadith reported by Abu Dawud and others, and the hadith is ضعيف. It's weak, it's not authentic. And the meaning, as it says, يقول الله تعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أنا ثالث الشريكين, I'm the third of the two partners. as long as none of them would betray his friend or his partner. If one betray his partner, I come out from this partnership. The muraqaba, or to witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is witnessing all of our affairs, this is definitely a must. And if people get into a partnership, they should witness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all aware of what they're doing. And you can physically and write on papers all kinds of good things, but if it's in the heart of the person that he is having the intention to cheat or to deceive or to lie or to steal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all-seer subhanahu wa ta'ala, and people should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before they fear to be in trouble with the system or so. They should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost. So this is a reminder to start with matters of transactions, that this is Deen. Because again, the misery that sometimes we live in is that you'll find the person fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or that's how he thinks, with his salah, or he fasts. And there's no way that he would break his fast in Ramadan, which is a good thing. And nobody can see him. Nobody can see him fasting. Fasting is not an action to be done. It's something that is, nobody can see that you are fasting. But people would do that and make sure that if it's 1 minute left for the Maghrib, no way that he would, eat anything or drink anything out of the fear of Allah, and to make sure that the day is done in the right way and so on. But then the same person might turn around, or even after breaking the fast, goes and cheat in buying and selling or do what is haram. This is the same thing. This is religion and this is religion. But it doesn't have to be that it doesn't feel like religion. That means we deal with it according to our own desires. Religion is not based on feelings only, right? So if the ibadah gives you a certain feeling, transaction doesn't give you that feeling. You don't feel khushu', right? When you're having a contract with someone, right? But this is Deen. This is part of the Deen of Islam. Quran is revealed, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So that means we have to make sure that it's according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. Then he says, فَالشَّرِكَةُ بِجَمِيعِ أَنْوَاعِهَا كُلُّهَا جَائِزَةٌ. The sharika, or the partnership, in all of its types, it's all permissible. So the ruling of partnership, the ruling of it, that it's permissible. It's not something mandatory, it's not something haram or anything, it's permissible. And why would a person want to be in a partnership or not? This is all, people deal with this according to what's benefits that they gain, or so the question is, should I get into a partnership or not? It's up to you. You know better what is means of this dunya and what is bringing more benefit or not. And usually people, they don't want to be partners unless they have a deficiency in something, or they're afraid of something, so they would want to have more security in this. A person has money but doesn't have the means to run a certain business, and someone else have the expertise but doesn't have money. Or people, when they join their effort together, they would make more money and more profit. So whatever the reason is, this is a valid transaction, this is something permissible. And he doesn't mention the definition of a sharika in the matters of fiqh, but the definition, as the ulama, they say more than one definition, but briefly is ijtima'un. It's ijtima', it's people, they get into a partnership, meaning that they're together على استحقاق أو تصرف, which means in matters either it's because of rights to be observed, or in matters of tasarruf or transactions or money. That means there are two types, and the ulama, they can classify it into different classifications depending on how to look at it. There is the sharika of al-milk, in ownership. And some of it, or sometimes it's by, you don't have a choice in it. For example, inheritance. Somebody dies and he leaves a land or whatever, and there are inheritors, right? They are partners in a piece of land. They don't have a choice in it. They didn't get together to make a contract of partnership. They found themselves already partners in a piece of land. And this is by al-jabr, it's mandatory on them. And that's why in inheritance, you don't have a choice. You should not say, well, I don't want my share. Somebody died, you say, I don't want my share. They can just distribute it without me. This is not permissible. It's not your choice. Your share has to be given. And then after you have ownership of it, you can do whatever you want to do with it, give it to whoever you want, but you don't do that from the beginning, right? So, or people, they purchase something, and they have partnership in this purchasing a building, right? So there's no really business going on, it's just they in the real estate business, in a halal way, of course, purchasing buildings and they sell it and so on, or matters of work or transactions, there's a business to be run and so on, this is a different type. So all of this is permissible, and he will talk about the different types. Ulama in books of fiqh, they talk about the different types of partnership. And these different types of partnership is just to make it easy, or classifications or matters of how to people to distribute the profits and so on. But any means of partnership is permissible, right? As long as it abides by the rules of justice and fairness and so on. So that's why he says, for example, وَيَكُونُ الْمُلْكُ فِيهَا وَالرِّبْحُ بِحَسْبِ مَا يَتَّفِقَانِ عَلَيْهِ. The ownership in the partnership and the profit according to what they agree with one another. So there's no set rules. If you are in a partnership, then the profit has to be distributed this percentage versus this percentage. There's no such a thing. It's all how people will decide for themselves. إذا كان جزءا مشاعا معلوما. If the thing that they are partners over is something that is مشاع, meaning that it's not a specific, this is my part and this is your part. If it's in matters of ownership, this is my place and this is your place, then it's a different situation, right? But if it's they all partners in one piece, or they're partner in a business, that means the money is all mixed together and it's known, right? This is where they can divide or decide what the profits and the losses. The losses has more specifications to it. But as far as the profit now, the profit they can decide how the profit will be decided. According, of course, if it's all fair and it's not something of injustice. So then he says, فَدَخَلَ فِي هَذَا, then comes under this category, شركة العنان. العنان وهي أن يكون من كل منهما مال وعمل. Is from the word is used when the two horses are competing with each other, right? And they're head to head, right? So it's a partnership. Both parties, they are partners in wealth and action, right? So they both put some of their money and they put their effort too, and they're working together in the business, right? So they open a business, both put money and also time and effort. So this is one type of partnership. Again, how to divide the profit, it's up to them, right? But when it comes to the losses, right? If a person put his effort, put his money, usually the loss is on the money and not on the effort, right? So the effort is already lost if there's a loss. So the person that puts the effort, he should not have a burden of losing money too. And this one comes to المضاربة, which is the second one. شركة المضاربة بأن يكون من أحدهما المال ومن الآخر العمل. Which means المضاربة is one has the money and one has the effort. So they become partners. So one would give the money and one would do the work. In that case, they can also divide the profit the way they like, 50-50 or whatever, right? But when it comes to loss, who would bear the loss? The one with the money only. Not the one that he already lost his effort, his work. He's not putting any money, but he's the one that is taking all the burden of the business. He's the one that is working, right? So if there's any loss, he should not put money from his pocket, right? He already put his effort and that's his loss. And if there's any money loss, this is on the one that put the money, again, as long as the matter is done with trustworthiness and there's no cheating or deceiving and so on. Of course there's many details. If sometimes people, they put the sharika is in two money and one, they say مالين وبدن, right? Two money and one with his body, with his effort. So two people, they get into a partnership. Both they put a portion of the money, and one only would work and the other one doesn't work. Many of the ulama, they forbid this form of partnership. You understand? If the first one, al-i'lan, is they both put their money in and their effort in. They're both working in the business and they both invested in it with their money. This is fine. But if someone, or the other type, the second type, one with money and one with his effort. And one with the money has nothing to do with the business, it's just he put the money in, investing his money. The case that I just mentioned is two people, they both put money, but one only works and the other one doesn't work in the business. Many of them, the majority of the ulama, they forbid this, right? Because it's not very clear. But the other opinion, which is Madhab Imam Ahmad and others, this is permissible. As long as they agree with each other how they would do things and how things will be run and how the profits will be, there's no problem. But can a person then, can the one that is running the business takes a part, can he take a salary for himself? Or can he set a specific part of the money plus the profit? So if they say, for example, we'll divide the profit to be 50-50, right? Plus $100 for the one that is working. Or a salary for him because he's working every day, he needs salary, so he'll take a salary. This is not permissible, right? This is not permissible because he's already having a share in the profit, right? And the share of the profit depends on his actions. So since it's already been calculated that he works in the business, so his profit will be like this, then he should not take anything else unless he's doing something not normally done by someone in that business. You understand what I'm saying? So if two people, one is say with his money and one with his effort, right? And they divide the profit to be 50-50. Then the one with his effort to say it's 50, the profit is 50-50 plus I need $1,000 a month as a salary since I'm working. That's not permissible like this. Why? Because he's already having a 50% of the profit, right? But if he's doing something that is not normally done in the business, then he can take a salary for this. Anyway, so we said al-ilan when both having money and actions, and mudaraba is one with his money and one with the action with al-amal. وَشَرِكَةُ الْوُجُوهِ بِمَا يَأْخُذَانِ بِوُجُوهِهِمَا مِنَ النَّاسِ. Two people that get together in a partnership, they don't have money or anything, and they don't even do much work physically, but both they have their own appeal to others, or they have their own networks or whatever. So as a result of that, they make their business by how they are known in the market, right? So he gets people to do business with him because they know him. And the other partner, he also gets people to do business with them because they know him and he's been in the market for some time, so they trust him and so on. By the fame that he has, or his name in the market, so that's used as a way to make money. Like this is no problem. But if someone is a partner with his, as they say, with his face only, with his fame only, or his name only, this is not permissible. But if they're all of them, they're in it like this, no harm. وَشَرِكَةُ الْأَبْدَانِ. Abdan is the plural of badan, one's body. This is another form of partnership. بأن يشترك بما يكتسبان بأبدانهما من المباحات من حشيش ونحوه وما يتقبلان من الأعمال. Two people, they work physically with their bodies. They are in the plumbing business or carpenters or whatever there is. So they become partners, right? They both work on their own ways, and at the end they share their profit together, right? So they don't even have to be working the same thing. Someone is a carpenter and someone is a plumber, and they have a partnership together. How does that work? Whatever the call comes, plumbing, he goes, the plumber goes. If it's a work of carpenting, then he goes, the other one person goes, and at the end, whatever is made, it's all together in this partnership, and they divide it according to their profit. So there's no money put, it's all their efforts only, and they don't have to be doing the same business. So they can say the company of fixing anything and everything, right? And they're just different people there with different talents and so on. And at the end, they divide the profit accordingly. Then the last part he says, وَشَرِكَةُ الْمُفَاوَضَةِ. شَرِكَةُ الْمُفَاوَضَةِ, I don't know how to translate al-mufawada, but it basically means وَهِيَ الْجَامِعَةُ لِجَمِيعِ ذَلِكَ وَكُلُّهَا جَائِزٌ. If there is a type of partnership that has all what we heard before. So the same partnership has money and work, and some is just putting money and not work, and someone is there, although al-wujuh, there is majority said it's not permissible and all of them are working with their actions. So all the different types, or all together mixed together, there's no harm. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And this classification, it doesn't mean that this is the only ways of partnership, as we said. Anything that people would make up of means of partnership, it's halal, as long as, and then this is at the end, he says, the criteria for any partnership to be permissible, and it doesn't matter to be one way or the other. He says, وَيُفْسِدُهَا إِذَا دَخَلَهَا الظُّلْمُ. It becomes not valid and corrupt if there is ظلم in it, injustice. وَالْغَرَرْ لِأَحَدِهِمَا. Al-gharar is matters of deception. Somebody is deceived. He gets into the partnership, and the experienced ones, they already know the deal of it and the risks of it, but the one that came, one of them, he does not know the risks of this partnership, and he's putting more money, and they deceive him, right? So they use his money, and they know the risks of it, but they don't tell him, right? And the most that they would lose is their efforts, but he would lose more money. This is al-gharar. If it's there, then it makes it invalid, and he has the right, actually, if this is discovered, that he would get his rights. And it makes it, of course, means of cheating, which is haram. كأن يكون لأحدهما, as mentioning some examples. كأن يكون لأحدهما ربح وقت معين. As, for example, someone would say, the profits on Friday, it's my profit only. You guys, take the profit in the rest of the week, but Friday, it's only for me. Or this holiday or that holiday, or this is definitely not permissible. وَلِلْآخَرِ أو الآخر ربح وقت آخر. And the other one would take the profit in a different time. أو ربح إحدى السلعتين. Or he would take the profit only for him from this merchandise. Right? I put more effort in getting this merchandise, so I would, take more profit than you in this particular. This is not sharing. This is not partnership. This is something else. أو إحدى السفرتين. Or this business trip, right? The profit, if it comes anything from it, I'll take more because I put more effort in it. It doesn't work this way. This is not permissible. وما يشبه ذلك, and the like of this. That's why al-musharaka or partnership has to be partnership really on profits and losses. Once a person would define, okay, we share in profits and so on, but this and this and this is on you, and the rest is on me. Then you know that this is not valid, it's haram. Or you pay taxes, and not me. Taxes comes from your share, not from my share. Or if there's any fines, it comes on me. Or this is not partnership. And that's why when people were talking about some of the contracts with home financing and so on, and they call it sharaka or musharaka or partnership, and you would find these clauses in the contract. They call it partnership, and we're both partners, you and the finance company, Islamic, as it's called, Islamic finance company, and they're partners with you, right? And you buy the house, you're with certain percentage, and they're with the rest, and you're partners in everything. But they tell you taxes you paid because you're living there, right? And other things. That's not permissible. That's not. Then don't talk about musharaka. Don't talk about partnership. It's not halal this way. And that's why in matters of transaction, you have to define the relationship first, you give it a title, and then you see the rulings of it in the Deen of Islam. If you call it musharaka, and if it's not according to matters of partnership and musharaka, then it's not musharaka, you're committing something wrong. You have to name it first, what the name of it. Are you giving a loan, or you're investing, or your partnership, or what is it called? Because whatever you call it, there is criteria in the Deen of Islam that governs this. So any partnership is on profits and losses exactly. It's the things that has to be defined from the very beginning, and not to say, well, as long as both parties agree. If I agree that tax is on me, then that's not partnership, even if you agree. It has to be partnership, fully partnership in all things, and not just in one part or not the other. This is the end of this. After that, talk about the Musafar, but we'll stop inshallah at this point with sharika or partnership, as you see, very brief, right? Contracts and what's in it, and what's the clause and the fine prints and all of these things. Allah knows best. And that's why people should make sure that they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their transactions and the partnership. And the issue of how to break, one last thing, how to break the contract of a partnership. People, they get excited and they get to a business or make contracts because they're good together, mashallah, and they all trust each other, but they don't think what's going to happen if they want to break the partnership. And they would feel uncomfortable to talk about it because as if somebody is trying to deceive them or you don't trust me. No, this is something that has to be discussed when they're forming the partnership. If they want to finish the partnership, what's going to happen? How things going to be divided and so on. This has to be very clear. And as the ulama, they say, in any contract that you get yourself in, the way it is easy to get in, which is usually people make it very easy to get into any transaction, right? You have to also make it very easy to come out. Not that you want to deceive or anything, but you have to make sure also that if something happens and things happens, that how to come out in matters of ease. And that's why another point, and there are many points, just remember another one, when people put their money to start a business, it has to be exactly the same amount or the same, not amount, the same form of money. That's one condition. Meaning, a person cannot put a land and one put a money in. Because it's going to be very confusing if something happens and they want to break the contract. Right? Who will take what? So it has to be exactly the same type of money that they put in. Right? So this has to be clear. Also, people cannot form partnership and they don't give the money right there while they're forming the contract. Cannot be deferred. You understand? So, for example, they say, okay, you pay 1,000 and I pay 1,000 and we open a business. But I don't have the 1,000 now. Okay, no problem. Later. So they start the business when one didn't pay anything and one paid 1,000. And they work and make profit and everything, and the guy that didn't pay anything is making money. Right? As if he paid 1,000 when he didn't do anything. And they want to break the partnership, right? And he takes profits based on the 1,000 that he didn't pay it, and it looks like he paid it. Right? One of the conditions of partnership with money, that in the majlis, in the gathering of the contract, the money has to be paid right there. If the money is not there, then no contract yet. Right? We're not going to do it now. Because the money is there, and exactly the same type, right? So that when things happen, the matter is at ease and there's no problems and evil things and so on. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy.